At the beginning of the series, we see Tom and his family at his wife's funeral. Tom is trying to comfort his daughter Jennifer, who appears unhappy with him. Fast forward 1 year later, we learn Tom is a surgeon. Outside the hospital, he asks his friend Pete to come to the community barbecue. In the park, there are many families enjoying a beautiful day. Among them is Jennifer, Tom's elder daughter, who is texting her boyfriend. The boyfriend Chris is having lunch with his family, but is not having a good time. His father Neil and mother Zoe are having an argument. Later, Neil tells Chris that they are getting a divorce. Back at the barbecue, a woman named Sophie sneaks out of there and meets Tom at the back. They seem to be in an intimate relationship. Another place, a girl Saya is talking to her parents who are leaving for their wedding anniversary weekend and remind her to be careful while they are away. Jennifer spots her dad coming with Sophie. Feeling hurt and confused, she decides to leave. Pete tries to stop her, but she doesn't. Now Tom is discussing with Pete about Jenny that she has a boyfriend and she is not opening up to him about anything. Tom also reveals that because he is worried about her, he has cloned her phone to read her texts but hasn't used it till now. Pete is shocked. Meanwhile, Chris leaves his home with his friends ready for a night out. Jenny chats to her sister, who compliments her on wearing mom's watch. She informs Tom that she is going out, who asks her not to be late. Everyone is arriving at CI home for the party. Jenny shows up and spots Chris, who is clearly wasted. She doesn't look pleased. Later that night, Tom wakes up and sees that it's 2 a.m. Worried, he goes to Jenny's room and finds it empty. He calls her and leaves a voice message to come home. Concerned, he decides to check her text messages and discovers her chat with Chris. In the morning, he tries calling her again and leaves her another voicemail. His worry is growing. He wakes up Carrie and asks her to come with him. They arrive at Chris's house and ask his parents about Jenny. His parents tell him that he hasn't come home either and suggest that he must be at Ian's home. Carrie mentions that Ian goes to their school and she can find out his address. Now Tom is at Ian's house, where still no one knows where Jenny or Chris is. Ian suggests that he should ask Sia, who might know something. Meanwhile, Sophie is taking her children to her mother's house. Her son Henry, who was also at the party last night, doesn't want to go. While getting into the car, she sees her husband coming hungover. He is living in a trailer outside their house and she asks him to be a good father. Now Tom is at Sia's home, where she tells him she was outside last night and hasn't seen Jenny or Chris. Sophie is at work, where we learn that she is a detective. She meets her new colleague Emma. At the school, the detectives arrive for a case where sexual relations about a teacher and a student have been reported. Sophie finds out that the accused French teacher is Chris's mother Zoe. Sophie hangs up the call from Tom. Outside the hospital, Tom wants to talk to Pete, but he drives away, asking him to call later. Tom now has no option but to call the police to report about Jenny. Zoe comes to school and the detectives ask her to open her locker. Upon thorough search, they find a flash drive. Zoe tells them that it is not her property. When they open it, they find some naked photos of Zoe and intimate letters written to her. Emma asks her to come to the station. Cops arrive at Tom's house and inquire about Jenny and Chris. While driving, Tom spots Ian, who immediately starts running. On seeing him, Tom goes after him, and he jumps over a wall. Tom also starts running after him, and on catching him, Tom asks him why he ran. Tom suspects that Ian is hiding something. Ian reveals that Sia had a house party, and he was there as well, and most of the children were on drugs. Jenny and Chris were also there. In the police station, we see Zoe is getting scanned. Emma believes that she is lying and Sophie believes she is not. Tom again goes to Sia's house and tells her parents about the party. She apologizes and reveals that Jenny and Chris were at her place last night, but don't know when they left. Now we see Pete jogging in the park while Emma is in the car taking his photographs. Sophie reaches her home, where inside Henry is acting suspiciously. He has something with blood and hides it inside his closet. At Sia home, her dad looks extremely nervous and her mother is crying. Her dad, looking nervous, enters the garage. Tom is driving when he gets a call from Ian who wants to show him something. He shows him a video on someone's Facebook where they can see Jenny getting into a car and the guy is Pete. Tom is shocked. Meanwhile, in the garage, it's a horrific sight. We see the dead body of Chris inside the freezer.